Hi guys, hope you're doing well as always and welcome back to another video. And I just want to start things off by saying a massive thank you to everyone that watched my last video on Sunday. It was admittedly a very painful day to be alive as a Chelsea fan, but there have been some silver linings with how well the vlog did on Sunday. So I just want to thank each and every single one of you who watched, who commented. Even the opposition fans left some really nice comments, so I'm really grateful for that. 40,000 views in about a day is unheard of on this channel. Do I expect this to be the start of a new revolution for the football hipster? No, is the short answer. But this is why I make these videos, because it's so great to connect with so many people and get so many nice comments from fans even after our team have lost a cup final. So we'll move on from that, but seriously, thank you all again. And on the topic of comments, today's video is actually inspired by some of the comments that I read, as well as some comments made by Gary Neville during his analysis of the game on Sunday. And that is of course regarding Chelsea's spending and being dubbed as the blue billion-pound bottle jobs. So is that a fair assessment? I don't really think so, and before you guys all rush to the comments, I just want to urge you guys to do two things for me. Number one is just wait before you comment, and number two is just listen to what I've got to say, because I'll be honest, this video has been an absolute ball ache to try and plan and really get my point across in the right way. But all I ask is for you guys to stick with me throughout this video, wait until the end, and then maybe you'll start to get where I'm coming from, even if you still disagree. But steering back to the point of Chelsea being judged purely on how much money that they've spent, as well as slightly contradicting what I've said so far, I get it. £1 billion over the last 2 seasons is ridiculous, and you're opening yourself up for comments like these if results don't go your way. So Todd Boehly and the Chelsea players can't do much to stop that now we've reached that milestone, especially when you're sitting in mid-table for the 2nd season running, all but proving that money doesn't buy you trophies. The value of Chelsea's first team that started against Liverpool totaled €479.4 million according to transfermarket.co.uk, and that's not to mention the 165 million worth of players who came off the bench during that game either. But I don't think that having a squad that has cost you so much money should guarantee, or at the very least lead to expectations that you're going to win trophies right away. Don't get me wrong, I do believe that we should be good enough based on how much money that we've spent, but I think that people should steer away from using that figure as a basis to judge us on, because I think it really overhypes how good we actually are. Of course the fee should hold some significance over how good the quality of the player is, but what happens when you sign a player for a large sum of money who doesn't end up performing to a level that matches his price tag? And what happens when you have a team full of those players? Well, that was the case for Chelsea last season with the likes of Romelu Lukaku, Kepa Arrizabalaga, Marc Cucurella and Kai Havertz all not justifying their excessive price tags that total €338 million in transfer value. And 2 of those 4 players have since left the club, with Kepa looking set to follow suit. And unfortunately for Chelsea, players like these have come all too often in recent years, with countless big money flops not living up to their price tag, and that's got to be expected when the club spends so much money on so many different players. The quality of the individual players that we have on the pitch versus how we play as a team are 2 completely different things, and that's something that us Chelsea fans have unfortunately had to try and get our heads around for the last couple of seasons. And believe me, it's frustrating. Some of these players move from abroad and can't quite manage the intensity of the Premier League, some are plagued with injuries that heavily impact their form, and others have simply had so much money spent on them that it's near impossible to live up to that price tag. But like I said earlier, spending money doesn't guarantee you trophies, but smart investments do. Recent models such as Brighton, Aston Villa, Newcastle and even Liverpool as well demonstrate what Chelsea haven't been doing in recent years when it comes to their transfer business, which has seen us prone to overspending on countless transfers. Although admittedly that is an area that is seemingly slightly improved, with more forward-thinking signings such as Noni Madueke, Romeo Lavia and Jorge Petrovic, all good young players recently signed by Chelsea. However, it's investments like these that underline 2 of Chelsea's biggest failures when it comes to signing players of late. We're signing too many young players, but we're also signing too many players that play in the same position. As quality as Lavia is, his 62 million addition to the team leaves Chelsea with 5 first-team players all competing for the same 2 spots in the team. Similarly with Madueke, his signing now sees Pochettino battling to choose between 7 wingers to start. And with all of this money spent spent on young players, Chelsea now have the youngest squad in the Premier League, with an average age of 23.4 in the first team. And that's including 39-year-old Thiago Silva. We've now got a team that's built around inexperience, a lack of leadership, and that is a void that desperately needs filling. Moving on, however, the underlying point cannot be denied. In the short term, the transfer business that Chelsea have been doing has been really poor, and there isn't enough quality in the current first team to compete with the vast amounts of talent in the Premier League. The potential is undoubtedly there, but when you look at this current moment, we are way too reliant on young players to be firing on all cylinders too soon in their careers. And with my overall point in this video, you can absolutely criticise our transfer spendings, and I will join you on that. But when you look at who we've spent this £1 billion on, I think that we should temper our expectations a little bit based on who we beat and where we're competing in the short term. Another point to make when it comes to Chelsea's squad is looking again at our starting 11 from Sunday. Only 4 players who started that game were actually playing for us last season, which demonstrates that we haven't slowly built this team. We've instead splashed a load of money and bought an entire new one, and that in itself brings difficulties. The 12 new signings, as well as the academy players that are walking into that Chelsea dressing room, aren't walking into the same one that holds Didier Drogba, Petr Cech, Frank Lampard and John Terry. They're joining a group of players who are under pressure to emulate those names, and who together form the worst performing Chelsea side of my lifetime. It's not a great work environment for new signings to be joining, and it's incredibly difficult to create a team spirit of the likes of Newcastle or Liverpool or even Manchester City in such a short space of time, which is why this rebuild that Chelsea are going through is taking so long. The weight of expectation versus the reality that Chelsea FC aren't the team that we used to be, regardless of how much money we've spent, is a burden that's weighing this squad down. And that's why I said that Sunday's result was so important to us, because if we won, that would have been such a pivotal moment in our journey back to the top. All because that triumph would have brought a newfound confidence to a team that are severely lacking it at the moment. We're a team that are still learning to play with one another, a team who are burdened by the pressure of expectations from the fans and the hierarchy, and a club whose new owners are still working out the best way to run a football club. And I think it's all three of those reasons that combine to why there is a lack of confidence in that dressing room. Our transfer business has unquestionably been poor, with money overspent or wasted on numerous players, but those players can't control what their price tag is. And as I stated earlier, sometimes it's simply impossible to justify so much money being spent on what is a gamble. All that these players can do, and all that I can ask from them as a fan, is that they turn up and they try and give everything that they can and try and live up to the expectations and the pressure that are put on them. So going back to what I've been saying all along, I don't think that Chelsea should be judged solely on the price tag, because we haven't signed world-class players. We've gambled on youth and inexperience, but we've also injected a large sum of money not into a handful of superstars, but into rebuilding an entire team. And on Sunday, Liverpool can complain about the injuries that they've had, which is totally fair enough, but let's not forget how many injuries Chelsea have also got and have had throughout the season as well. So many key players out. And that's not to take away from what Liverpool did to us on Sunday by beating us with so many young players, because it's a fantastic achievement. But it's like I said, we're just not as good as you'd expect us to be after spending so much money. But as Sunday demonstrated, football isn't a game of who spent the most money, it's about whose squad is best prepared to win. And that's why I travelled to Wembley expecting Chelsea to lose, because Liverpool have the quality that Chelsea lack the most, and what I think is the most important thing in football, and that is confidence. I don't want people to sit here and think that I'm making excuses for why we didn't win at the weekend. I'm purely adding context as to why Chelsea didn't perform as well as some people may have thought, purely based on the amount of money that we spent. Because unfortunately for myself and other Chelsea fans watching, we have to deal with this on the weekly and it is really painful, and it's a real conundrum that really messes with your head. I've been trying to work this out all season, and if you look at Chelsea, that price tag doesn't tell the complete story of where we are right now. If you spend £1 billion on transfers, then I also believe that you should have a team that are primed and ready to win you trophies. But that's not how Todd Boehly spent the money. He's opting for a more long-term project that, if it clicks into gear, will sort us out for a long time of hopeful success. But if it fails like it currently is, it will be an extraordinary amount of money wasted with absolutely nothing gained. And that is the risk that Chelsea Football Club find themselves faced with, but also why I think you should look beyond the £1 billion figure when you're next placing your expectations on how well Chelsea should do. Right, now you can comment exactly what you think, and to be fair, I'm prepared for a lot of people to disagree. Like I said, it's a really hard one to plan because I get it in my head. I have the misfortune of watching Chelsea every week and seeing us play really well one week and then getting smashed by Wolves and then performing really well against City and then performing pretty well against Liverpool, but just throwing it away in extra time. So I will just reiterate that I do believe that you should have a squad built to win after spending £1 billion. But all I'm saying is just allow a little room in your mind for context when you look at Chelsea, because I don't think that our squad is quite there yet. Without a shadow of a doubt, we have the quality, but the confidence is lacking, and our club is just a messy place to be right now, which is ultimately reflected in the team's lack of fluidity on the pitch and the inconsistencies in the results that we're getting. But that's it. I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for watching as always. Thank you for listening if you held back on your commenting, and as I said, if you disagree with me, do let me know because I am genuinely intrigued. I'm off to go and get ready to head up to Anfield, so I'll see you guys up there. Thank you so much again for all your support on the last video, and for those of you that have chosen to stick around, thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one. Take care as always. Peace and love.